Oh, yeah, it's yes, what can we say? Okay, so we're going to do a few things on our backs, not a huge amount, so make the most of it. And we're going to have a particular focus on, well, on our feet in a moment, but let's just start with, particularly those of you who've just arrived, start with bending your knees and standing your feet on the floor, and a little bit of tilting your knees to the right and to the left. So I think everyone's got water, haven't they? You're all very organised. Well done on Monday morning. It's impressive. Good. That's very nice. So let the knees tilt to the right and to the left. And so if you've already, yeah, if you were here early, you've already done this. So see how it feels to come back to it. Yeah, you've got the same thing going on with your feet, Penny, actually. The right foot is further away from you. I think that's, yeah, that's, that's it. So it's interesting. I would just notice as you go on. I mean, it may just be nothing. Yeah. Okay, so just a few more times, tilting the knees to the right and to the left. And then you're going to settle your legs down in the center. Keep your knees bent. And you're going to start just lifting your the front of your right foot off the floor and tapping your foot. That's it, with your toes. So keep your heel on the ground and just lift, that's it, lift the front of the right foot off the floor and tap the foot. Good. And then see if you can do the opposite. So keep your toes on the ground, the right toes on the ground, and lift your right heel and sort of drop your heel or tap the floor with your right heel. Good. And then I'd like you to alternate between the two. So one time you tap your toes, the other time you tap your heel on the floor. So heel, toes, heel, toes. And so this actually is asking you to, you know, flex and extend in your ankle a bit. Good. That's nice. That's nice. Okay. And then just let that go before the ankle gets too achy, and come onto your left foot and start to tap your left toes on the floor. So again, the left heel stays down. That's it. The left heel stays down and you're picking up the front of your foot so you can tap your toes and the ball of your foot on the floor. And then do the opposite. Keep your toes on the ground, pick up your heel and tap your heel or drop your heel on the floor a few times. And then move between the two. That's it. Lift your heel, lift your toes. So tap the heel, tap the toes. And just notice how this feels in the ankle. That's it, as well as the foot. Okay. And then just let that go. And come back to your first leg. And what I'd like you to do is just start to let your knee rock out a bit to the side. So this is in the right leg. And then rock a bit towards the center. So really I want your focus to be that you're rolling towards the outside edge of your right foot and a little bit towards the inner edge of your foot. But that's going to be more difficult because obviously your other knee is in the way. Good. So just a little bit of rolling side to side on that right foot. Good. Good. That's nice. Very nice. And you could then move on and you could do the same thing on the left side. So a little bit of rolling side to side on your left foot. And obviously, you know, often we do this movement, we're focusing on the hip joint, but today it's the same movement, but we're focusing on the foot. So rolling to the outer edge of the foot, a little bit of rolling to the inner edge of the foot, but that's more tricky because our other knee gets in the way. Good. And then you can lengthen both legs out on the floor. And just give your legs a little roll or bounce your knees. And then the one other thing I'd quite like you to do here is just that sort of stretch into your heels and then release your legs, sort of 2 or 3 times. Stretch into the heels. As you stretch into your heels, you could spread your toes. That's it, yes, good. And then release your legs. Very nice. Good. You could just have a cycle of breath, lying long, letting the legs be relaxed. If you like lying long, you can have another cycle of breath. And then from here, you're going to be folding your knees into your chest. Whenever you're ready, and holding around your knees, doing a little bit of rocking from side to side. Good. And so some of you have already done a little bit of this today, because from here, we're going to also just take our arms and legs up to the ceiling and have a little shake out. So you may have already done this a couple of times if you arrived early. Good. That's nice. And then just before we come off our back, we're going to settle with our breathing for a few cycles of breath. So you can bring your feet back onto the floor. You can lengthen your legs out if you prefer. So even just settle down with your knees bent or your legs long. And it might be nice to bring your hands onto the front of your body, just to sort of rest somewhere on the front of your body to help you, just help you feel the movement of your breath in your body. So feel the breath come in, feel the breath leave you. And then some of you heard this earlier. We had this at the beginning when we started a bit earlier, this phrase from Thich Nhat Hanh, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. So just that's for 2 or 3 more cycles of breath. You could just repeat this little phrase to you. So as your breath comes in, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. As your breath leaves, breathing out, I know I am breathing out. I realize I might have one more cycle of breath. Okay, and then from here, we're going to make our way over into standing. So you could, so it's not too much of a shock, you could roll onto your side, you could have a few breaths on your side. Quite nice that we're a nice sunny day today. I feel slightly more inclined to get up and move around. Yes, so take your time coming over. So yes, basically, Penny, in terms of the heat, if you start to get hot, then let me know. And Linda, if you start to get cold, let me know. We'll try to do sort of windows open a bit for some circulation and heating on so we don't get cold, which will hopefully last for a little while. When we get to November, December, we might not want the windows open. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just sort of loose, easy, swinging twist, just seeing how it feels to, that's it, have all of us in movement. And Penny, if you want, you could always move forwards on your mat if you want a bit more space. You know, so if you don't want to, if you're worried about hitting your arms onto the light or the radiator, good. So swinging your arms, you can slap your arms onto your body if you like. You just sort of, you know, how does this feel? And as I was saying, perhaps, you know, I know for me, the sunny weather makes me feel a bit more, you know, keen to get moving. But as we get into the winter, we probably get less and less enthusiastic. Okay, a couple more times. And then we're going to come back to some of the feet things we were doing on our backs and see how that feels in standing. So a couple more times, swing your arms and then settle yourself down with your feet a little distance apart. And so we're going to do, so if you bring one foot forwards on the floor, and we're going to do that same sort of tapping of the foot, the front of the foot. And you can now, when we're in standing, you can turn your foot out and you can turn your foot in a bit as you tap it. And that's it. And obviously it can get a bit achy here in the front of the foot, so you don't want to overdo it. And we can move on to the other foot. So bring your foot forward. So it makes it easier if you bring your foot forwards a bit and then tapping your foot. That's it. So I know it always makes you feel like you're sort of about to start some sort of hoedown or something. So we've done both feet. Maybe give them a little shake out. So imagine you're sort of trying to shake your foot off your ankle. So I thought maybe it's a bit of an unpleasant image. And then just settle the feet down for a moment. So take a moment, maybe look at your feet, perhaps close your eyes, just see if you can feel your feet on the floor. So one of the things we're doing with all these feet exercises is just to try and wake up the feet and quieten down the mind a little bit. So the next one we're going to do is a bit like what we're doing on our back, but it's both feet together. You're going to be lifting your heels and then dropping them down onto the floor. Yeah, so this is the one that sends a little bit of a judder up through your body. You might like that. If you, yeah, you might not. So you could do it very small and quick, or you could do sort of big, slow ones. And I always think with this one, if you don't like it, see if there's a speed and a sort of intensity that makes it a bit more pleasant. Maybe it's just alternating it. Okay. And then, yes, perhaps again, we need to give our legs a bit of a shake out. And then the next one we're going to do is one we're all familiar with, and you might want your fingers on the wall, is we're just one foot at a time. We're going to come onto the top of the foot and stretch out the front of the ankle. And you could see what it's like to straighten your knee. That tends to make my foot cramp. So I've got to be quite cautious with that. Good. And then try the other side. Lengthen, that's it. Onto the top of your toes, maybe straightening the knee. Good, and do that once more on each side. That's it. Yes, it's surprising, isn't it? It's surprisingly wobbly. That's why I say hold on to the wall. I'll put that on save this one. Yeah, so once more on each side. And again, you can have a little shake out. We've just got one more foot thing we're going to do, which is coming back to one foot at a time. And what we did on our back, rolling to the outer edge of the foot. Could roll a bit towards the inner edge of the foot, more towards the outer edge of the foot, I think. And you could also sort of alternate that with a bit of coming onto the ball of your foot and rolling across the ball of your foot. So a bit of rolling across the ball of your foot, and then a bit with the whole of the foot on the floor, rolling to the outside edge of the foot. And so it's good for our sort of winter feet, a bit of a workout like this. And we can do the same thing on the other foot. So rolling to the outer edge of the foot and roll to the inner edge of the foot if you like. Rolling to the outer edge of the foot and coming up onto the ball of the foot and rolling across the whole of the ball of the foot. So you might think, oh, I know what we're going to be doing. We're doing all these foot exercises, so we'll be doing some standing balances, which we will be, but not excessively. Okay, so just finish off on that second foot. And if you want to give each foot a little shake out, we are going to see how it feels now to come into a very simple standing balance. So perhaps if you start by just settling both feet on the floor a little distance apart, and just maybe closing your eyes and then a little bit of swaying from side to side. And again, how does it feel to send your awareness down into your feet? What do you notice? Maybe the feet are feeling a little bit more awake, a bit more alert. And as you do this, just choose which leg and foot you'd like to stand on first. And we'll open our eyes, we'll bring our hands into prayer pose. And then very, very simply, you're going to shift your weight onto your chosen leg and foot and bring the other foot to stand on that foot. Good. And just, yeah, see how it feels. And can we let the shoulders soften? Can we let the mouth and the jaw be relaxed? That's it, good. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. If you have a little wobble like I just did and your foot comes onto the floor, that's fine. Maybe see if we can have another breath or two here. Okay, come down, shake out of arms and legs. We'll try the same thing on the other side. So just again, paying a little bit of attention, perhaps looking at your feet. Stop looking at your feet, maybe finding a point in front of you to focus your gaze on, bringing your hands into prayer pose. And then shifting your weight onto the other leg and foot. So the foot we just stood on comes to stand on top of that foot. And just, yeah, how does it feel? How does it feel to settle there? See if you can maybe feel the movement of your breathing. Just check in with all those places that we could so easily start to get a bit tense in. So the shoulders, the jaw, the tongue, the lips. Maybe the eyes could be a little bit more relaxed. That's the point between the eyebrows. Well done. Come down, have a little shake out. So we're going to think a little bit more about some forward bends now. So we do a very simple forward bend. So just with your feet a little distance apart, I would like you to see how does it feel today to go forwards. You could bend your knees, rest your elbows on your thighs, or you could release your arms to the floor. So just sort of first forward bend of the day. How does it feel to go forwards? Your knees can be bent. Your knees can be very bent if you like. So just another couple of breaths, noticing how it feels through the backs of your legs and sort of across the back of your pelvis and your lower back. These are all the places that are stretching out a bit. That's it. Can we let the head go? Can we let the shoulders feel soft? And then let a breath come in. As you exhale, sink into your heels, roll up into standing. Good. And then just come back to this sort of swinging your arms, letting your whole body move. We're going to do a couple more forward bends with a few variations. How are you doing temperature-wise, Penny? Yeah. You okay? Lovely. Okay, so we're going to go back into that forward bend. So same thing, feet a little distance apart. So do you say if you're getting hot, you're right, I can turn off the heating. You're going to come back into the forward bend, and then this time you're going to sort of sweep your arms from side to side around the fronts of your feet. So as long as that feels okay for your lower back, if it's better for you to just stay forward, you can do that. So when you're ready, coming into your forward bend, and then sweeping your arms from side to side around your feet. Keep releasing the head. Obviously, if you just want to pause in the center, that's absolutely fine. Good. Very nice. And then this time, as we come up into standing, what I'd like you to do maybe is touch the backs of your hands together. So as you roll up into standing, you're going to take your arms all the way up to the ceiling. And so just see how it feels to be long and tall. You can take your arms as wide as you like, so you can drop your shoulders down. And then let your arms come down. And then just as your arms come down, swing your arms and cross them in front of your body. That's it, very nice. Good, not hitting anyone here. And then from here, you're going to swing your arms all the way back up to here. That's it. So arms swinging back up towards the ceiling. That's it. Let a breath come in. And then as you exhale down into one more forward bend, taking the arms down, bending the elbows. And it's up to you in this forward bend, whether you want to be still or whether you want to sweep your arms from side to side. So just decide what you'd like to do there. And in this forward bend, again, just noticing how is it, how are things, progressing, developing through the back of your legs and your lower back? Are things starting to release a little? Keep rooting into your heels as you exhale. And when you're ready to come back up into standing, you can roll up into standing. Good. And just, have a little shake out of your legs. And we're going to come into another balance now. This is going to be the balance where we catch the top of one foot. I'll talk you into it, but remember, some of you might want to catch your trouser leg instead, or Elaine, I think you sometimes use a belt. Or if you don't want to catch your foot, you could always just slide your foot back on the floor behind you, yeah, and come onto the top of your toes. So we're going to start here by reaching up through just the right arm. So reach your right arm up to the ceiling and start to then shift your weight, transfer your weight onto your right leg. So we're reaching up through the right arm. We're starting to transfer our weight onto our right leg and foot. And then we're going to catch the top of our left foot. So the left knee can drop down towards the floor. Now, if at this point you feel wobbly, do move so you can have your right hand on something. And then if you're okay in the middle of the room, bring your right hand down onto your breastbone. That's it. Your right hand's on your breastbone. That's nice. Just seeing if you can settle here. Let the left knee drop towards the floor. Definitely use the wall if you need to. And see how it feels to have a couple of breaths here. Good. That's it. Elaine, you could bring your hand down onto your chest now, onto your breastbone, the raised arm. That's it. Good. Okay. Well done. Come down, have a little shake out. I might, how are you temperature-wise? I might turn the heating off for a bit. It's starting to feel quite warm to me. Yeah, I think the sunshine makes a big difference, doesn't it? But as you're by the windows, do say. Okay, let's do the other side. So let's start by reaching up through the left arm. So reach up through the left arm, shifting your weight onto your left foot. Actually, Penny, it's quite good with this one if you want to use the wall to sort of be facing the wall, and then this arm could actually just touch the wall. You don't want to be too near because otherwise it feels like a punishment. But but yeah, you could be. That's it. So rather than reaching up, you just bring your fingertips onto the wall. That's it. So we're reaching up through the left arm, shifting the weight into the left leg and foot, catching the top of the right foot. And as I was just saying to Penny, it's if you need the wall to help you steady, sometimes in this one, it's quite good to face the wall so that your hand can be, that's it. Then your hand can come down onto your breastbone. So the left hand comes onto the breastbone from reaching up. And we just try and settle here for a couple of breaths. We try and let the right knee drop towards the floor, but there's always this sort of payoff that we want to try and stay long through the lower back. You might bring your left hand down onto your belly, because if the belly can sort of fall back and soften, then our lower back tends to stay happier. Good. Okay, come down when you're ready. If you don't like being facing the wall, Penny, don't do that next time. But you might want to be slightly further away from this. I don't know. We'll see. You're going to come into a forward bend now with your feet a bit wider apart. So what I was thinking is the sort of narrow edge of your mat. If you like, if you're facing the long edge of your mat, take your feet as wide as the narrow edge, and then see how it feels to fold forwards with your feet this wide apart. And have a few breaths there. And keep your weight rooted into your heels. Just always remember, Penny, going to I think it was Zen meditation class years ago, and you sit facing the wall, very near to the wall. And obviously to sort of stop you being distracted by things. I just felt it like a punishment, sort of a childhood punishment. Good. So you have another couple of breaths in this forward bend. Yes, if you like to, bend one knee or bend the other, shift your weight a bit from side to side, you can do. And from this forward bend, you're going to come up into standing, sinking into your heels, and keep your feet this wide apart when you arrive up in standing. And then we can come into our side lengthening movements here. So one arm comes up, and we're sort of reaching up and over, that's it. And then the bottom arm could swing a little bit. That's it, good. And I tend to shift my pelvis over towards my raised arm side. And then you can swap arms. So the other arm comes up, and again, you shift your pelvis towards that raised arm side. You're reaching up and over. And then the bottom arm can just swing a bit to make sure it stays loose and relaxed. Swing side to side, maybe. And then do this once more on each side. So come back to the first side. So the bottom arm is just sort of swinging, a bit like a pendulum, side to side. That's it. Swap onto the second side for the second time. And you see you're feeling long through one side of the body and the other side of the body is quite relaxed and soft. Good. So nice and quiet through the front of your body. That's it. Good. Okay, come back to the center. And then one more time, keeping your feet where they are. So have your feet a little bit wider apart. Aditi, maybe that's it. So back to feet being as wide as the narrow edge of the mat. And then once more, coming back into this forward bend. And again, it's really up to you. You could be shifting your weight a little bit from side to side, bending one knee, bending the other if you like. Or you could be in the center, bending both knees, resting your elbows on your thighs, letting your head go. And again, the sense when we're in the forward bend, we're just gently inviting the back of the body to lengthen out and release from the heels all the way to the crown of the head. Good. And you can sink into your heels. You can come back up into standing. You can give your legs a little shake out. And settle down so your feet are a little distance apart now. Yeah, so go back to sort of standing Tadasana and come back to swinging your arms and crossing them in front of your body. Good, so the arms can swing out to the sides and then they can cross one arm and then the other arm in front. And in a moment from doing this, you're going to give yourself a hug with your right arm on top. So you're crossing your arms over your chest. If you put your right arm on top, then you just don't have to worry about which that right. Good. Drop your shoulders down, down, down away from your ears. And then come on into your eagle arms or whatever variation you do. So I know some of you, Nigel, you do the one where you've got one arm propped, so it'd be the right arm propped up in the crook of the left. Good. Have a couple of breaths here. That's it, Naz. Well done. A couple of breaths in your eagle arms, letting your shoulders drop down away from your ears. And then it's up to you. You could stay upright, but what I usually like to go forwards in this, and I usually then step my feet wider apart. So go back to the feet being as wide as the narrow edge of your mat, and then sinking into your heels, coming back into your forward bend. And again, bending your knees as much as you like. And whenever you want to release your arms, so undo that eagle arms, you can do, because we know which arm was on top. You don't need to worry about that. Good. Yeah, that looks very nice, Penny. Lovely. Yes, nice forward bend. Good. So release the arms to the floor, let a breath come in, sink into your heels, roll up into standing. Good. And then just step your feet back to being a bit closer together again. And come back to swinging your arms, crossing your arms in front of you. That's it. So in a moment, we'll be moving on to giving ourselves a hug with the left arm on top. So whenever you're ready, it's quite nice to keep swinging the arms, but eventually that's it. Swinging your arms, giving yourself a hug, left arm on top. Good. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears. I'm very suspicious. Otto is not on his cushion. He's probably up on my bed. Bad dog, yes. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears and then on into eagle arms. Good. Have a couple of breaths upright here. Again, we're thinking about the shoulders being down away from the ears, feeling wide across the upper back and maybe moving the elbows forwards a little bit. And then if you want to go forwards, taking your feet a bit wider apart. So the feet are back to that sort of width of the narrow edge of your mat. And then exhaling, sinking into your heels, folding forwards, releasing the head. And again, you can have a few breaths with your arms crisscrossed and eagle arms. Just really make sure your head is releasing. And whenever you like, you can release your arms to the floor. Good. That's very nice. And just a breath or two there. Lovely. And then yes, roll, yes, whatever you want to, Aditi, rolling up into standing. And have a little bit of a shake out. So we're going to come down in a moment. We're going to come down through forward bend and dog pose. I'm wondering where dog pose is today. Down to the floor. We'll come back into standing and do a little bit more in standing. But come towards the back of your mat and bring your hands into prayer pose. Perhaps just take a little moment there, feeling your footprints on the floor, feeling your hands touching in front of your heart, and maybe have a look at your feet as well. And your feet should be a little distance apart here. And then when you're ready, you can let a breath come in. You could exhale, take your arms down and then up. Just feel long and tall for a moment, let the shoulders drop away from the ears, and then rolling down into a forward bend. And as we've done lots of forward bends, it might, maybe don't stay there too long, just start to walk your hands forwards into dog pose and see how dog pose feels today. Good. And as we've done all these forward bends, it might be that we're coming into dog and we feel a bit longer through the back of the leg than we do sometimes. So have a few breaths in dog. And from dog, we'll come on to hands and knees. Obviously in dog pose, all these things that if we are sitting tight in the back of the legs, bending the knees, one knee, both knees. Nice dog poses. That's it. Then you let that head go. Let the head go, let the front ribs soften. Good. And then come on to hands and knees. And on hands and knees, we're just going to do a little bit of cat and a bit of tail wagging. So really, this is of your choice. So when you arrive on hands and knees, maybe see how it feels. A little bit of cat, rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine down to the floor. If that stays good, if that feels good, you could stay with it. But you could also see, how does it feel to do a little bit of wagging your tail, or imagining you have a tail and wagging it. Whenever you feel you need to take the weight off your hands and wrists, you're going to round your back in a rounded up cat and then rock your hips back over your heels into child pose. And we are going to settle in child pose and just sort of quieten here and come to our breathing. Good. So in child pose, come back to the breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. And for another cycle or two or three of breath, just seeing if you can keep your attention with your breathing. You don't have to repeat that little phrase, but just have that intention of being aware and conscious of your breath, whether you're breathing in, whether you're breathing out. From child pose, you can have another few breaths here, it's absolutely fine. From child pose, we're going to be coming through hands and knees into lunge. So you could bring one of your feet forward in lunge whenever you're ready. Linda, are you doing okay with the air coming in? Yes. Let me know if anyone gets cold later on. I'll put the heating back on. So yes, so step 1 foot forwards in lunge, and it might be then you want to tuck your back toes under, walk them away on the floor a little bit more. So you want to feel that your front knee is over your front heel in your lunge. Now, I was then thinking, you don't have to do this, but you might like to do your lunge where you walk your foot out to the side a bit more, and your hands come onto the inside of that front leg. So that's sort of, one thing you could do. And just how does it feel there to let the pelvis drop to the ground? And then if you're feeling particularly lively this morning, you could tuck your back toe under, You'll have to rest down onto your hands or knuckles here, and then let your back knee come off the ground. So that just makes it even a bit more stretchy. But if you do that and you just think, oh God, that's just awful, then obviously don't stay there. But you can see how that feels for a breath or two. You could bring your back knee back onto the ground. You could possibly walk your foot back in between your hands. Have another breath or two there. Yes, you can go back into that one if you like, Sarah. Very, very noble. And then whenever you've had enough in lunge, you're going to ease out of lunge, ease back out of lunge by untucking your back toe and rocking back. So your chest stays close to your front thigh. You're looking back behind you. We're just doing this sort of easing back from lunge. So if you, so if you're easing back, Maz, you sort of let your back knee bend more and you're shifting your weight back. That's it. I need to have my back foot flat. Good. And then let's, on hands and knees, swap sides. So we can take the other foot forwards in lunge. And again, start with your foot in between your hands. So a normal lunge, you've walked your back leg away enough that you're feeling this delightful stretch through the front of the back leg side. And we're just having a few breaths here, giving the weight of the pelvis to the ground. If you want to explore then walking your front foot out to the side and your hands coming onto the inside. So obviously one hand is on the inside anyway, but bringing the other hand onto the inside of that leg. See how that feels. So we're just thinking about the pelvis reaching to the ground, opening through the front of the back thigh and groin. If you want to then tuck your back toe under, take your back knee off the ground, you can do. You're leaning down onto your hands. So sort of push it, if that feels too much. You might like to then bring that back knee back down. You can repeat it if you like, or walk your foot back in between your hands. So come back into the sort of first lunge we did. And I'm thinking, yes, I'm really ready now to untuck my back toe and to rock back. So to ease back out of lunge, I'm rocking my pelvis back. I'm looking back towards my back leg. Good, that's nice. Yeah, well done, Naz. So from here, we're going to come back through dog pose and a forward bend and back into standing. And I think it would be quite nice to sort of have, half a dozen or so cycles of breath in your dog pose. So hands and knees coming into dog pose. And just, if you can, if dog pose feels okay, if you can sort of stay in dog pose. Obviously not if it starts to become uncomfortable. Can you stay? Can you rest through your arms? Can you feel your breathing? You could touch back in on that breathing in. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. Aditi, just let your elbows soften a little bit if you can. And wide. Ah, that looks very nice. Lovely. Good. Good. And Linda, just really soften the upper back. And release the head. Yes, I think for everyone releasing the head. Yes, and from dog, Naz, absolutely. Walk your hands in towards your feet so you come into a forward bend. And you can then roll up into standing when you're ready. Good. And when you arrive in standing, have a little shake out or whatever you like. We're going to be making our way. We're going to come back into, and I'll talk you into this. You don't have to do this now. We're going to come back into this forward bend where we caught the top of our foot. And then we'll take it a bit further where we reach forwards with our arm and backwards with our foot. But I'll talk you into it. It's just, yes, Elaine, if you want your belt, exactly, you could put it on your shoulder, have it around your neck. So just start on your mat. So you've got a bit of space in front of you to be able to step forwards. And you're going to step one foot forwards. And you're just going to do a little bit of rocking forwards and back. So in case you've got all anxious or excited about the balance, we're just sort of pulling things right back to feeling the feet on the floor. Good. Okay. And then what I'd like you to do is whatever foot you've got in front, you're going to bring that hand onto your breastbone. So this is this point, Karmanadi, that can help us feel settled. So by bringing the hand onto our breastbone, we're just helping ourselves a little bit in the balance. And the next time you rock your weight into your front foot, I'd like you to bring all of your weight into that foot and catch the top of your back foot. And then at this point, if you feel that you need to be nearer to a wall, then you could be. And then from here, just let yourself find the balance in this position with your hands on your breastbone. And then what we start to do is we start to reach the hand forward and we reach our foot back away from our bottom. So we're going a bit further into this dancer pose. You can just sort of go to wherever feels comfortable for you. Good. Good. And I think in this one, because we're moving, we don't necessarily say that long. I think we're going to try it a couple of times. So you can come back out, you can have a little shake out, and then you could just try the same one again with the same foot forwards. So you might come all the way back to rocking your weight forwards and back, bringing your hand onto your breastbone. So we're going to stand on the same foot again, just in case you're not sure. So letting your weight rock into the front foot, catching the top of your back foot. And then we look for this forwards and back movement here, reaching the arm forwards and the foot back. And possibly we tip forwards a little bit. We could also let our pelvis turn a bit to the side. So it's just trying to find a sort of spacious, that's nice, a spacious feeling. Good. Very nice. We don't necessarily stay there that long. Well done. Very nice. Oh, actually, everyone seems to find it easier on the second side. Well done, Penny. I know you know your favourites, but looking very good. Okay, let's try the other side. So you don't have to turn around on your mat. I just have, but you do need to step your other foot forwards and do a little bit of rocking forwards and back. And just dropping down into your feet, feeling your feet on the floor. So whichever foot you've got forwards, bring that hand onto your breastbone. And just, you know, that contact of the hand on the breastbone can be quite steadying. And then shifting your weight, all of your weight into your front foot, catching the back foot. And before you reach forwards and back, just be upright for a moment. And then think about this forwards and back movement, the hands reaching forwards, the raised foot reaching back. Maybe tip forwards a little bit, maybe your pelvis rolls to the side. Good, and it was just really making me think of have a little shake out before we do it again. This was when we did a lot in lockdown, when we needed to feel expansive rather than restrained. So let's come back to the same foot steps forwards, a little bit of rocking forwards and back. Yeah, so in your own time, just trying that same balance again. And it might be that with the second time we go into it a little bit more quickly, which is maybe quite good. We let our brain switch off. So reaching forwards and back. It's fine. We might just, for a moment, sort of find that it's a very sort of nice, expansive place to be. Good. Good. Well done. See if you can reach your foot back away from your bottom, Penny. Can you? No, that's stage too far. You're balancing really well. Okay, good. Well done. You can come down up your balance. Amazing. That looks fantastic. So we're just going to do a couple of forward bends where we take our feet wider. So you need to face the long edge of your mat now. And to start with, we're just going to do a simple forward bend. Go forwards with the feet wider, see how it feels, and then we'll come back up and I'll give you a couple of options. I mean, obviously in this one, you could do a bit of, you know, bending one knee, bending the other, shifting your weight from side to side. My knees can get a bit grumbly in this, so just pay attention to your knees. They don't always like to bend that much in this. Or you could be in the center with both knees straight or both knees a little bit bent. So just really, how does it feel to be in a wide forward bend? So again, we're lengthening through the back of the legs. Yes, we can, whenever you've had enough, you can come out, you can have a little shake out, and then we're going to do it a second time. And I'll show you the things we're going to do. So there's probably well, there's lots of things you could do here. The two things I'm suggesting is coming forwards, and you'll all know this one. Imagine you'll know this. You keep one hand in the center, and we do a twist. So we hand in the center, we twist the other way, arm up. So that's one thing, a twist with the hands in the center. Or there's a bit of walking. This is now a bit of a side bend where we walk our hands towards one foot and then the other. Okay. So those are two things you could have a little go with. You might want a book or some blocks under your hands for the twist. So if it's hard to bring your hands down to the floor. Come into your forward bend. And if you're thinking about doing the twist, that's very nice for your spine, Nigel. You want to try and flatten your spine out rather than being too rounded. So that's why it's maybe coming up onto your fingertips or having a book or a block under your fingers. That's it. Very nice. Lovely, Penny. Good. Yes, and the top arm reaches up. Well, you don't have to take your top arm up towards the ceiling. You could, that's it. You could keep your hand resting on the back of your pelvis. Yeah, and on one side, my arm goes up comfortably. The other side, it doesn't. You could go from side to side a couple of times in that twist and just see how it feels. Yes, and then there's the other option. If you're doing the twist, your knees should be doing the same thing. Depending, make sure yours don't lock, push back and lock out. And yeah, just try to, so both knees could be bent or both knees could be straight, but they should be roughly doing the same thing. And then remember the other thing is to be walking your hands, both hands towards one foot. Very nice, Linda. And then both hands towards the other foot, which then lengthens you out in one side of the body. Good. Really let your head go, Penny. And that one, yeah. And Linda as well. So yeah. Well done. Very nice. Lovely. And it might also be that you just then have a couple of quiet breaths in the center, letting your head hang. It might be that you, well done. So doing some of these things just means we stay a little bit longer in our wide forward bend. That looks really nice and soft there, Penny. That's gorgeous. That's it. Really sink into your heels. That's it. Oh, very nice. That's lovely. Beautiful full forward bend. Really beautiful, Nigel. Elaine. And then whenever you want to come out, sinking into your heels, rolling up into standing. Good. Have a little shake out. We're going to come to the back of our mat. And quite sort of quietly, we're going to make our way down to a forward bend, dog pose, and into child pose. So it's really up to you. You could spend as long or as little in any of these as you like. So if you're at the back of your mat with your feet a little distance apart, you can just set yourself, fold forwards into your forward bend and yeah, see how it feels. So if you come into something and it feels nice, stay there. If it feels, you're not particularly fussed one way or the other, then move on into the next thing. So it's forward bend, dog pose, child pose. Lovely forward bend. And yeah, this is going to be the last dog pose. So that might mean you want to stay there a bit longer. That's it. Just really feel in your dog pose as you exhale. Can your belly sort of empty and fall back? That's it. That's very nice. So you lengthen through the back of the waist. And there's a sort of emptying through the front of your body. Good. And from dog pose, folding down into child pose. And just giving yourself a few quiet breaths in child pose. So we've done quite a lot of standing today, so we're coming back now to be nearer to the ground. And so sometimes when we have, that looks very nice and settled there, how do you see? But sometimes when we've done all this standing, then it's just easier to settle. From child pose, If you're really happy in child pose, you can stay there a bit longer. But from child pose, we're going to slither forwards onto our belly. So it's sort of up to you. If you like being on your belly, then you might want to go onto your belly if you're very happy in child pose. So on your belly, maybe one hand on top of the other and your forehead or your cheek resting on your hands, and wiggle your pelvis. So if you're not on your belly yet, you might want to make your way there. And I just want you settled on your belly. I just want you to touch back in with that breathing focus we had. So you've resting your head down, maybe onto the back of your hands, into the cheek or the forehead, and come back to that focus of breathing in. Your arms as relaxed as they can be. They can always be by your side, Penny, if you prefer that. So breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And just remember on your belly, if you need to wiggle your pelvis a little bit, you can do. And maybe just for 1 or 2 more cycles of breath, how does it feel to be breathing in? I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. If you're happy on your belly, you could have a few more breaths there. From your belly, you're going to be rolling onto your back. Yeah, that's nice. So it's quite nice that you do that, Penny, just to roll over and keep your head where it is. But if you want your head up the other end, you can also turn around. I sometimes, yeah, sure, like that. So yes, rolling onto your back, and then we're going to do a little bit of movement on our back in a moment. But I'd like you to start just by coming to your breathing. So it might be that you rest your hands on your belly. And again, with this focus, this breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. I think I'll just put this heating back on. So yeah, 2 or 3 more cycles of breath, just settling with your breathing. And then we're going to just do some simple lying down movements. So then if it gets too, I'll put the heating on, but if it gets too drafty, let me know. So breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And when you're ready to move a little bit, you're going to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And as you do so, just take a moment to sort of feel where your feet are. Feel where your feet are on the floor. And then start to let your knees tilt to the right and to the left. Good. We're coming back to that movement we did at the beginning of class. That's it. And just find a movement that feels good for you right now. So it might be little, it might be big, it might be slow, it might be maybe not too fast. So 2 or 3 more times, letting the knees tilt from side to side. And just noticing how that feels in your body. What do you feel? Where do you feel it? And then settle in the center, and you're going to keep your right knee bent and you're going to lengthen your left leg out on the floor. Good. That's it. Yes, exactly, Aditi. Do a bit of, with that long leg that's on the floor, roll that leg a little bit or bounce the knee. So you're just settling that leg down. We want that leg to just be really sort of passive. Good. And then if you bring your attention to the bent knee, the right leg, and just a few times let that knee tilt to the right and to the left. This is the bent leg. Yeah. Good. And just feel that movement is sort of in the hip joint. It's also the movement we were doing at the beginning of class, paying attention to rolling onto the outer edge of the foot. And then what I'd like you to do is settle that foot down. So you're not rolling on your foot. And we're going to be pressing into the foot, and we're not going to let the knee tilt to the right and to the left. That's it, Linda. So settle your foot in the center. And Penny, I'm wondering whether you want your foot a bit nearer to your pelvis, actually. Yes, just see. It might be too near, just sort of see. So in your own time, you're going to be pressing into your right foot, letting the right side of your pelvis come away from the floor, and letting your pelvis tilt towards the left. And you're going to be repeating that. So you're not tilting the knee anymore. You're pressing into the foot and you're letting your pelvis tilt over towards the left. Good. And you're letting your left leg roll on the floor. So that's it. Settling the right foot down, starting to press into the right foot, letting the right side of the pelvis come away from the ground. Letting your pelvis tilt over to the left. It might be that you rest your arms on the ground for this. We're going to add the arms in a moment. Good. Okay, so what you're going to do now is cross your arms over your chest with your right arm on top. That's it. So other way, Sarah, with the arms. That's it. That's it. Good. Please. And then as you start now to press into your right foot, you're going to roll across the back of your shoulders. Then you roll onto the back of your left shoulder. That's it. And let your head roll to the left as well, Penny. And that what you might want to do then is trail your fingers out along the floor in front of you. That's it. It's quite nice if you had your fingers in your sleeve of your t-shirt, so you could, yeah. So it's up to you. If you feel that you're rolling onto your hand, that's when you're sort of want to, if you trail your hand sort of this way, Sarah, like away from your body, and then that would just get you, that's it, you just, good, you create more space in your upper back. So are we all there? That's it, very nice. So we're as well as pressing into our right foot now, we're rolling across the upper back, our weight's rolling onto the back of our left shoulder, our head is rolling to the left. So the whole of the body is now involved in this movement. That's nice. Really nice. You can do this a couple more times if you like. Very good. Whenever you've had enough, you can uncross your arms. You might want to lengthen both legs out for a moment or bend both knees just before we move on to the other side. That's it. So when you're ready, you're going to organize yourself. So your left knee is bent, your left foot is standing on the floor, your right leg is long. And so the first thing is maybe just to roll the right leg a little bit. So can we settle the right leg down? This is the long leg. Yeah, so the first thing is to roll the long leg, try and that's it, release that leg a bit. And then like a lot of you were doing, once you've just let the right leg go, then you're going to start that tilting of the left knee from side to side. Yeah, so that's the first thing we did, was we let the left knee tilt to the right and to the left. Good. And then you're going to stop tilting your knee from side to side. You're going to settle your left foot on the floor. And then you're going to start pressing into your left foot. letting the left side of the pelvis come away from the ground. It might be at this point you'd like to have your arms on the ground. You can have your hands on the front of your body because you could be feeling what's going on with your ribs, but you don't want to sort of weigh yourself down. So pressing, and it might be that you coordinate this pressing movement with your out breath. So as you exhale, you're pressing into your left foot. You're letting your pelvis tilt towards the right. Good. And then maybe as you breathe in, the pelvis comes back down. Whenever you like, you can add your arms in. So crossing your arms over your chest with your left arm on top. That's it. So Penny, if you just slide that hand, right hand out from underneath. That's it. Bring that right hand towards your left armpit. That's it. Yes. Oh, it's always hard to. That's probably a much better way of explaining this than I say. Good. So now you're pressing into your left foot. You're rolling across your upper back. That's it. Very nice. So your head is rolling towards the right. You're rolling your weight towards. That's it. You're rolling your weight towards the back of your right shoulder. Good. Keep thinking about your knee moving forward rather than over to the right. Yeah, because then we just find a bit more length through the front of the left thigh. It's really nice, everyone. Good. You do this 2 or 3 more times on this side. And then again, whenever you've had enough, uncrossing your arms, lengthening your legs out on the floor for a moment. Feeling the length of your body. And then just the last thing you might want to do before you put on warm things, and we finish with a bit of breathing, is folding your knees into your chest. Having a little rock with your knees folded into your chest and taking your legs up to the ceiling and giving your legs a bit of a shake out, and arms as well, if you like. And then what we'll do is just for 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to settle down with some breathing. So you might want to put something warmer on. Linda, do you want a blanket there? You're okay. Anyone else for a blanket? You've got the radiator on over there again. So. Otto's favourite place if the heating is on, not even he's allowed there, is on the back of this sofa because there's a radiator behind it. So it's ever like, and say for your loss. So that's it. So settle down onto your back. And again, it might be nice to have your hands on the front of your body to help you focus on your breathing. And for a few cycles of breath, we're going to start with that little breathing focus we've had today. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. So you could be repeating that phrase to yourself, or you could just be simply saying in to yourself as you feel your breath come in, and out as you feel your breath leave. And I'm just going to develop it slightly. So now, breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. So breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. You could repeat these phrases, or you could just, as you breathe in, say deep to yourself and feel the breath traveling deep within you. And as you exhale, You could just say slow to yourself and feel your breath leaving slowly, slowly. So obviously the deep is very gentle. We're just giving the breath time to travel deep within us, as is the slow. We're just allowing the breath all the time it needs to leave us slowly, slowly, so we empty completely. Let's see if you can have 3 more cycles of breath, deep and slow. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. Breathing out, my breath goes slowly. And then just let that focus go. You just come back to feeling the length of your body on the ground. I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times. Yeah, the body, maybe sounds around you, the light. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you. Lots of love. Take care. Have a good week. Bye. Bye-bye.